I want to ask you, Congressman, if you just indulge me a minute, and how does Congress work? For those of us that sit and watch the news, which is all we see of the inner workings of Congress, over the last couple of years, we kept hearing report after report about Republicans not being able to offer up amendments to very important legislation that was being considered, Republicans not being able to debate important legislation. How is it that things like that
happens?
Can occur?
Yeah. Because it's much different than in a county commission meeting like the room we're in here, where there's obviously back and forth among the commissioners and they can offer up alternatives and all that. I won't speak to how the Senate operates because I don't serve there and I'm not fully schooled in all of their rules. But I can tell you in the House side that it actually operates depending upon how the Speaker and the majority party wants it to operate. Pardon me. There are certainly rules that govern operation of the House. But then there's a Rules Committee that sets the rules for how bills come to the floor. And that's where the real power resides. We'd always tried to allow the public to watch the proceedings in the Rules Committee. And Speaker Pelosi and the Democrats refused to allow cameras to be put in there for this to be telecast, webcast, broadcast, whatever. We've since changed that, by the way, now. We're in the majority. The cameras are now in the Rules Committee, and you can watch what happens there. It's where you go to offer up amendments. Rules Committee decides whether you're allowed to offer them on the floor. Some of the major pieces of legislation that came through in this last Congress, some of them never touched a substantive committee. The entire rewrite of the health care law it came over from the Senate, and that was after Ted Kennedy died and Scott Brown was elected, and they realized they no longer had the votes if we changed a single word in the House. So they could not allow it to be amended at all. Take it or leave it. So it never went to any of the committees. The Speaker had that authority, and it just came to an up or down vote. And I think that's part of what enraged the country, by the way, because that's not how our founding fathers set up our democracy. And so we've changed all that. We said we're not going to allow these giant bills, omnibus bills, to come to the floor. We're going to take issue by issue. We're going to have a more open process where members will be able to offer amendments on the floor. Not every amendment and not on every bill can you have everybody doing it. You have 435 people. But we're going to empower the committees again to do the work. Both parties, frankly, had gotten to the point where these big decisions were made by a handful in the leadership offices, and take it or leave it to their committee chairs. They were told, move the bill and don't allow anything to change it because we've cut a deal, all behind closed doors. That is not, this is the people's business. It's their money. It's their, they ought to be able to watch it, observe it, participate in it. And we all ought to be able to read the bills, have 3 days, we put that in the rules now, before they're voted on the floor.
Yeah, we're going to talk at length about the new rules that were just passed in the House, but I can tell you, sitting out here in, I'll use a popular phrase that has been adopted, Main Street America.
Yeah.
When you talk to your fellow citizens here, when I talk to them, I mean, it's the last couple of years, it's all about through gamesmanship, through tactics, through strategy.
Sleight of hand.
Essentially, you had tens of millions of Americans who were procedurally removed from representation in Congress.
Very well said, Joe, because that's exactly what happened.